First off, can we all agree that this movie had the best song choice for any trailer ever?
This hit goes out to you, Mr. Wick.
42 regular, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so it begins.
And that is exactly what I did. Hey, G, where are you going? Huh. Guess she's watched John Wick too many times. It's the 4th chapter in the popular John Wick franchise, and he's discovered a way to finally defeat the High Table. But before he can earn his freedom, John must face off against a new enemy played by Bill Skarsgård. Look, I'll just get out of the way immediately. If you love the John Wick movies, you're gonna love this movie. If you don't love the John Wick movies, somehow, you're still gonna love this movie. The action in this movie is freaking incredible. Not only is it more amped up, but it's also at points non-stop. From beginning to end, this is nothing but a freaking bloodbath. There's fight scenes that go on for a good 20 minutes or so, and you cannot take your eyes off the screen for a second. There's a very high body count that involves getting hit by cars, and a lot of nut shots. There is also so many great kills throughout the movie that I couldn't keep track of all of them. Another thing we kinda know about the John Wick films is the amazing cinematography. And so far, this movie has some of the best cinematography that I've seen this year. The film was shot in a bunch of different locations, and it all looks unbelievable. If you get the chance to see this in IMAX this weekend, do so. It's 100% worth it. This is probably the best looking film out of the franchise. I did also really like some of the new add-on characters. There's an old acquaintance of John's named Kane, played by Donnie Yen, who has some great kills throughout the movie. There's this other assassin named Mr. Nobody, played by Shamir Anderson, who is probably my favorite character in the movie, and I would definitely like to see more of this guy if they decide to expand this universe more. And yes, I am fully aware of the ballerina spin-off thing. I really like the soundtrack for this movie as well. I was very disappointed though that they didn't play Woke Up This Morning from The Sopranos like they did in the trailer. Which, yeah, obviously that's why I'm wearing the shirt. The movie has a runtime of 2 hours and 49 minutes, and I never once felt that. It flew by for me, and I was never bored. Okay, so far I've praised the hell out of this movie, but is there anything that I didn't really care for? Well, I wouldn't say didn't care for. I also really wouldn't call it a problem because it's expected with these movies, but Keanu's acting is terrible. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Keanu Reeves as much as the next guy. No homo. But even then, his acting is laughably bad. There are people in my theater, including myself, snickering at some of his line deliveries. But I wonder if they realized that, because it feels like he didn't have a lot of lines throughout the entire movie. He, mostly talks with his guns. But if you forget about his lines for a second, his stunt work is all well choreographed, and he does great with the action throughout. And he's still great as John Wick. Especially with all the gun fu. I have no idea. Some guy was talking to me about the John Wick movies, and he brought up that he does a lot of gun fu. Never heard that phrase in my life, but you know, if nobody's quoted it yet, can I quote that? Gun fu? Or else? I don't even know what else I need to say about this movie. It's everything you want to see in a John Wick movie. If you love the first three, you're gonna love this one. And if this really is the final movie, it's a great conclusion to what I think is one of the best action franchises in the last decade. So I was debating on what grade I should give this movie, and I finally came to a conclusion, and I know I've been doing this a lot recently, but I gotta give John Wick Chapter 4 an A+.
Gonna take you down, deep down to the front.
By the way, the line, "I am Klaus," is destined to become memed. But now for a total tone shift, Monday night I got to see an early screening of Owen Wilson's new movie, Paint. Which he has because it's Regal's Monday mystery movie. And I know last time I said I was going to tell you guys what my guess was going to be, but here's the thing. I knew what it was going into it, because a friend of mine found out what it was, she told me, and I was all like, yeah, that was my guess. In Paint, Owen Wilson stars as Carl Nargle. Nah, fuck that shit, I'm calling him Not Bob Ross. In Paint, Owen Wilson stars as Not Bob Ross, who is a popular television painter on PBS who has it all until he gets replaced by a younger and more original painter named Ambrosia. Right off the bat, this was just perfect casting. Owen Wilson was freaking excellent as Not Bob Ross. All the humor in the movie works pretty well too. It's mostly dry humor, and if that's your thing, you're probably gonna really enjoy this. It also made me think a lot of something like Death to Smoochie, but not as dark, or the Eat, Pray, Queef episode of South Park. I also really like the new young painter Ambrosia, who takes Not Bob Ross's show in a different angle than what he usually does. Like how Not Bob Ross will paint paintings of happy calm stuff like trees and whatnot, she'll paint paintings of a UFO dumping blood onto a tree stump. I really like the subplot of how Not Bob Ross is so determined to make this one specific painting that not only will he paint the same painting like 5 times just to get it right, but there's a great scene where he has to do a paint-off against Ambrosia, and I'm not going to give it away, but it does have a very funny payoff. But here's the reason I decided to not give this movie its own full review. I couldn't think of all that much to say, and really, it's just good. That's it. And really, I only have like 2 minor issues with it. One of those problems being is that the movie is 96 minutes long, but it honestly felt a little bit longer than it is. I also really could not figure out when this movie was supposed to take place. You'll have scenes where people are watching the painting show on like really old TVs and whatnot, but then the next scene, you'll have someone saying, "Oh, my Uber is here." Then it makes it even more confusing is then someone will be like, "I don't know what that is." I don't know, maybe the joke is that it's present day, but everything looks like it's from the 70s. And one more thing, and this definitely isn't a problem with the movie, but this is not going to be for everybody. I'm even surprised they picked this as the Monday Mystery Movie. Before the movie even started, there was this group behind me who would not shut the hell up until the actual movie started, and I was like, oh god, they are going to hate this. And yeah, by the end of the movie, the 2 girls in the group were like, oh my god, it's so bad. That was so stupid. And I swear to god, when they got up to leave, they said like, hey, let's go get weed. There's this other guy who sat a few seats down from me who brought his like, I don't know, 8-year-old son. And I'm like, oh god, he is going to hate this. But also, hey, dry humor isn't for everybody. That's really all I have to say about Paint though. The movie doesn't come out until April 7th, but I really wouldn't say this is something you need to rush out to theaters to see. Plus, I already know what you guys are going to be seeing that weekend anyway. I'm going to give Paint a B-. And you're telling me you have a movie where Owen Wilson plays Not Bob Ross, and you don't have a single wow. Oh, wow. 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 And one more thing I really need to acknowledge. It looks like the cover of this movie says Chapter John 3 Wick Parabellum. Which, by the way, I find it kind of weird that they decided to give the 3rd movie a second title and not the last one. Oh, and since I've already seen Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, check out my review. I have a dead week next week, so I might just do a couple random videos here and there. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll be back with more reviews and some other videos very soon. See you then.
I'm going to need a gun.
You're damn right you are. Whoa.